welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Isabel and today I'm going to be telling you not the difference, I'm just going to be telling you about UK schools because I love watching videos of Americans reacting to the difference between England and America, and when they react to ones about school I'm always like, it could be better. Like, the video that the British person makes could be better, no offence, but I think I can explain better. I'm 20 years old, I left college 2 years ago. I left, well, nearly 3 because I'm nearly 21, but I left college 2 and a bit years ago, school 4 and a bit years ago, well, secondary school 4 and a bit years ago, but I thought I could take you through more like in-depth things. So we'll start with the schools. So, well, okay, you have playgroup, not a school, technically not a school. Hold on, I'll zoom you in so that you can really see this. Right, you've got playgroup, then nursery, reception, then you've got year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 and year 6. That's now you're at 6. Right, at my primary school, so all this was in my primary school. Right, so all that was in my primary school. So playgroup is like the first place you go to like just get used to other children. It's not educational system. I think you pay like £3 a week or £3 a session or something. You pay for it, but I'm not sure how much. Nursery, in that you basically learn how to bake cookies, you play with those sand and water tubs, and I remember learning how to brush my teeth there. Although I already did know how to brush my teeth from at home. Then reception, you get a bit more structure, I would say, but it's still very basic. Year 1 is where you start having like, these are your classes. You've got maths, English, but English in primary school is called literacy in England. I don't know if it is in America. You do reading, handwriting. I never really remember doing history or science in primary school. Maybe a little bit more like these ages, but what I wanted to explain to you was how to figure out how old a year is, because obviously it's grades in America, so it's +4 + 1. So add 4 to 1 is 5, add 1 is 6. So year 1 you're 5 to 6, year 2 6 to 7 because you've added 4 to get to 6, and then you've added 1 to get to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and 10 to 11. So they're the ages of primary school. When you're at primary school, you'll probably most likely call your teachers Mr. and then their name, or Miss and then their name, or Mrs. and then their name. I'd never called my primary school teachers anything other than that. If you want to get a bit of an understanding of the kind of topics that we learnt about in these age groups, because this is always what gets me about primary school. I don't know why we learnt what we learn. Some things that you would learn about at primary school, and these are from experience, I learnt about all these things going up in age. In year 2 we learnt about the Great Fire of London. In year 3 we learnt about dinosaurs, superheroes and the Egyptians. It doesn't sound real when I'm saying it out loud. And then year 4, 5 and 6 I remember doing like sinkholes, Bermuda Triangle. We actually watched Castaway when we were learning about the Bermuda Triangle. Just very random subject topics. Right, so at the end of primary school you do your SATs. That stands for Standard Assessment Tests. That then informs when you go to secondary school what set you'll be in. So it works the same with the ages here. So you've got 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, 15. Oh, if I could write the right numbers, I would be so impressed with myself. 15 to 16. Why did I make that look so hard? Right, so you do your SATs. You do them in maths, English and science. Very basic, very, very basic level. Mainly just like, I think they were mainly multiple choice questions. There might have been some wordier questions, but we didn't really learn science at school, but I remember doing a science exam. And we also had a class pet. We had a hamster. and the teacher did have to remove the hamster from the classroom because it was running around in its wheel and all we could hear was ew, 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 as the wheel was going around. So that was great. And that was the thing as well, we just took them sat in our classrooms, in our like normal classrooms, so it wasn't like you didn't go and sit in like an exam hall or anything like that. But that tells you whether you're in the lower or higher set at secondary school, so that you can be given work that is to your ability. So you go in at year 7. Year 7's like your kind of chill year, you just started there, and I think somewhere around here is like middle school for Americans, but we have 11 and 16-year-olds in the same place. I don't know why you'd separate it, it doesn't make sense to me. So you've got that. Then year 8 and 9, you're getting a bit more like into the work, and I think at the end of year 8 we picked something called mini options for year 9, which just kind of narrowed slightly down from like all the lessons to like, you've got a few less lessons now, you're getting a bit closer to what you want to actually do. And then at the end of year 9 you pick your options for GCSEs, which I'll go into, don't you worry. Then for year 10 and 11 you do your GCSE options, and then at the end of year 11 you take your GCSEs. Now I say that it can differ because I did two GCSE exams at the end of year 10 because they were coursework ones, so we did the exam in year 10 and then did all the coursework in year 11, although I did drop one of those, so you know, whatever. GCSEs are your General Certificate of Secondary Education, and they will help you get into college. So colleges in the UK will say, like, if you want to join our college for this, say you wanted to do art, like what I did, then they'll be like, you need these GCSEs with these grades. So they might say you need to have an English, a math, a science, and art GCSE, and they need to all be above a 4, or they need to all be above a 5, or you need to have at least a 4 in this and at least a 5 in this, and they give you kind of like things, so you kind of know what you're aiming for when you're going into your GCSEs, if you know what college you want to go to and you know what subjects you want to go into. Then you've got your college, which is generally year 12 and year 13. I do know people that have gone further in college because you can do longer courses for like 4-year courses in college if that's your thing, but it's usually 16 to 17, 17 to 18. I can't write numbers the right way around today, I don't know why. I left then. So at the end of year 13, we also, I forgot to mention this, we've got key stages, so it's like key stage 1, 2, 3, 4, something. I don't really know how the key stages work, I'm not going to pretend that I do and lie. College, at the end of college you do your A levels, but you can also do BTecs, and now you can do T levels. So fun. I didn't do T levels, I didn't know they existed. They did exist when I was at college, but my college didn't offer them. You can also do apprenticeships. I don't know how to spell that, I'm not going to write it on there. I probably know how to spell it, I just can't be bothered. I forgot to mention, we had Mr, Miss, Mrs, and then their names. In secondary school, I started off doing the same, so I carried that knowledge over. However, by year 8, that's out of the window. You just say Miss and Sir. Miss, can I have this? Miss, can you help me with this? Sir, can I do this? Sir, can I... That Miss for anyone, whether they're a Miss or a Mrs or a Ms, and Sir for every man. Because you have so many more teachers at that point that I couldn't remember all the teachers' names. Like, it's bad, but like, I'd be like, oh my god, what's our art teacher called? That was a genuine conversation I had. I actually forgot our art teacher's name. And then college, just their names. My college teachers were Lauren, Rob, Tim and Ben. And when I started again, you carry that over, right? It's ingrained into your brain for It's ingrained into your brain for 5 years. It's hard to forget, but after you get yelled at a few times, my name's this, like, don't call me that, don't call me Miss or Sir, whatever. You get yelled at and then it's just their names. You're like more level with them. They're not really your teachers, they're just there to support you a bit more. I actually went to a 6th form college. Right, 6th form is another thing. 6th form. Sorry if my lisp is jumping out. I had a lisp as a child and it's kind of gone, but like sometimes if I say words over and over again like 6th, I struggle. how do I explain this? Okay, a sixth form generally is attached to a secondary school, so you'll have just like another little building usually, I would say, but it's the same school. Sometimes they're non-uniform, sometimes they're uniform, depends. You wear a uniform for all of this, although nursery it's optional. Secondary school uniform, and it was horrible, I hated it. Like tie, blazer, and you had to ask permission to take your blazer off even if it was red hot. That really annoyed me at school. Like, you weren't allowed to just take your blazer off if you were uncomfortable. You had to ask permission, and the teacher could say no, and they often did. And then college, wear whatever you want, it's just your clothes. Sixth form, I would say, is more like a school. The way that they teach it's more like a school. College is a bit more like, it's on you to learn a bit more. And I went to a sixth form college. So it was a college, it was a standalone college, it wasn't attached to a school, but it was partnered up with schools, including my secondary school, and a lot of kids from my secondary school went to this college. And then I think it actually changed. I don't think the sign on the front of it is a sixth form college anymore, it's either just a college or just a sixth form, and I do not know the difference anymore. Like, I cannot comprehend anymore. A-levels, I did 3. I did art, photography and interior design. Well, it's called 3D design, but I did interior design within it. BTecs, I would assume, were your things like childcare and health and social care. T-levels, you can do like veterinary stuff or hairdressing or engineering. I would just Google those yourself, honestly. There's too much to try and explain what they are. So that's that. Marking. I don't know how they marked SATs because I cannot remember that far back. GCSEs. They used to be like A, B, C. So it would be like A, star, A, B, C, D, E. I don't know if it went lower than that. F, fail, maybe. But now it's like, I think it's like that. So you've got like 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I know that makes no sense, but like, this is the A's, B, C's. That was what it was the year before I took my GCSEs, but the year I took it, it changed to this. So I got a 3, I got some 4s, 5s and 6, and I think I got an 8 or a 9 in childcare. Which is, oh, I'm making this so much more complicated for you and myself, because childcare technically isn't marked like this. There's another way to mark. If you're doing a BTEC, which childcare was, I'm pretty sure, a BTEC. Oh, I can't write. Pass 1, merit 1, distinction 1, pass 2, merit 2, distinction 2. So, I got distinction 2, which is like somewhere up here. I was 12 marks off full marks in childcare. I just didn't look after a child at any point, so they couldn't give me full marks. That sounds so stupid, but yeah, that's what I was told. I think this is a fail and this is a pass. So be on that line. So if you got a distinction, pass 1, 1. If you got the 1s, fail. If you got the 2s, you've passed. This is actually so complicated. I'd love to know how it works in America. This is like a low. Somewhere around here it's like there's a low pass and a high pass. So I think these should be like your low pass here and your high pass here. I think I've got this right, I may have got it wrong. So that's how it's graded. And then A-levels, I believe it's graded the same way. A-levels might still be on the letters. It is! A-levels is still on the letters. I can't remember what I got in my A-levels, which was closer to then. Now, if we're talking about your GCSEs, we've got pathways. I think they're slightly different now to when I took it. I'm going to tell you about what it was like when I took it. You had your purple, amber, and green. Well, how can I write this nicely? Smart people, medium intelligence, lower intelligence. And I'm putting that nicely because I genuinely had a teacher tell me that purple pathways were for the dumb kids. I'm not kidding, that actually came out of a teacher's mouth. Right, I did just do it, I just turned it off for a second to do some googling, and I cannot find, I'm sure a bit ago I found like what the new pathways look like, but I can't find it. But I think it's like numbers now, like 1, 2, 3 or something like that. And I know it's slightly changed a little bit, but I'll just do it about how when I took it, which will still be interesting. So purple, you have to do, these are mandatory, your English, maths and science, right? And that goes for like all of these. But then purple, when I was at school, you could choose 4 other options. You could pick like computing, childcare, design and technologies, and something else that I can't think of. IT, I don't know. However, there was one option that was construction, which took up 2 options. So if you took construction and you were in this group, then you only technically had 2 other options. And that goes for all of these as well. But Amber, which is the one I was on, I got 3 options because I had to choose one option. It was kind of like chosen for me. I had to pick between geography, history, Spanish, or French. I think now it's a different one. I think it might be French or German or something. I'm not sure. So I had to pick one of those, and I picked history, which I failed. Passed the ones that I picked, failed the ones I was made to do. What does that say? And then if you were in green, you got 2 options. Because out of these, you had to pick one of these 2 and one of these 2. So say you might have picked geography and French. And then you get your other 2 options, as long with your English, math and science. The exams, you've got your English. In English, you do a language, a literature, and a speaking. Speaking, you get given like a subject topic, you pick something more detailed into it, and then you give a speech. Literature is you read books, you read poems, and then you open a test book and they ask you loads of questions about it and you've got to answer them from memory with quotes that you've memorised. It's horrible. I hated it. Every single second of it. Language, you might get given a piece of text or a image as like a idea, and then you have to write a story based on that. You have to plan it and then write a story. There might also be questions, but I cannot remember if there's questions before that. But like that'll be like a big chunky thing. So we have different marker questions, so like a tick box kind of thing, or multiple choice, whatever you call it, would be like 1 point. If you've got like a few lines like this to give your answer, it'll probably be like a 3 or 4 point, maybe like that. And then if you've got like 2 full A4 pieces of paper that are lined, that's going to be something like a 16 marker, or a 24 marker maybe, even if that exists, I'm not sure, but I remember them being big numbers. And you've got to try and think, like, if it's a 16 marker, you want to have 16 correct things in it so they can give you 16 marks. Like, you could write one page that's perfect and the other page that's bad. How can I explain this to you? So like, they don't take marks away from you if you get something wrong, they just give you marks for what you got right. So I would sometimes just write 2 completely different things. I'd be like, I think this because this, and then I'd go against that, but I'd write something else, and if one of them was right, they'd give you marks for that. So that's how I did that. Then you've got maths, you do a calc and a non-calc. Can you guess? Calculator and non-calculator. One of them you get to use a calculator for, and actually by get to use, I mean you have to use. You don't have to use, but like, you're given it, so you're meant to use it. But you also have to show you're working out, which really annoys me. So you have to tell the person that's marking the exam, or the computer that's doing it, like what buttons you pressed on the calculator. So you have to write down everything that you typed into your calculator. Not with words, just with like the symbols that are on the buttons. Anyway, I don't really know how these are marked, but these, you get given your mark, that you only get one grade, one number. So they will add up the number of things. Say you got like 100 in there, and then you got 50 in there. I actually used to get better grades on my non-calculator. I was better without a calculator, I don't know why. And then they'd be like, well, that's 150, divide it by 2, 75, and then they would have a thing that said, oh, okay, if they get that score, then that's a 5, and then you'd be like, grade 5. That's how they worked that out. And then science, the worst of all, hated science. Can't tell you about separate sciences because I didn't do them, but I did higher combined science. It sounds like I'm making words up. Higher combined science, if you do, oh my god, there's so much to explain. If you do lower and higher science, in lower you can fail. You can get a 1 up to a 5, like a grade 5. If you take higher, you can either fail, like if you answer nothing, if you just wrote your name on the paper. If you got everything wrong, you can fail, but you can get 5 to 9. So you can't get lower than a 5 in higher paper, but you can fail it. And that makes sense, doesn't it? I feel like I'm bad at explaining, but so I did higher, so the lowest I could get was 5 or fail, right? Science, you do your paper 1s and your paper 2s. So you have chemistry, physics, and what's the other one? Biology, right? Paper 1s, paper 2s. I think like one of them is non-calculator and one of them is calculator. I think that's the difference between the 2 tests. So what they would do is add up all your paper 1 scores, add up all your paper 2 scores, divide by 3, and you get 2. So I got, in science, it said on my like result sheet, it said science 65. It looks like 65, they write it that close, but it's a 6 and a 5. So my paper 1s I got a 6 overall, and on my paper 2s I got a 5 overall. That's how that works. And they're the mandatory ones. I can't tell you about all the other ones because I didn't take all the other ones, but art, if you're interested, I don't know how they do it in America, art is 2 full days of exam. So 2 5-hour days, 10 hours in all, to make a final piece, and then like leading up to that you were doing your coursework, so that's how that works. Childcare, I did an exam on paper at the end of year 10, and then I did coursework throughout year 11. History, it's an exam and I failed it. IT, I did the exam, never finished the coursework because I dropped out of that class without the school asking my parents or letting my parents know. I came home one day and I was like, Mum, Dad, by the way, I dropped IT, and they were like, no you didn't. I was like, yes I did, yes I did. I just cried at this man until he was like, oh god, I'm so uncomfortable as a girl crying, and I was like, thank you. I hated my IT teacher, I can't lie. That was UK schools for you. I could happily make more videos about UK schools because I have some experiences, let me tell you. Wasn't the best experience ever, so yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational for you and that I explained everything well enough. If you've got any more questions, comment them down below, and like and subscribe. I'll probably do more videos like this. I quite liked it, being a little teacher. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.